I wanted to unveil a new project car I just got. And no, this is not a duplicate, it is quite different. I am sitting in the new BMW 1989 E30. It's a 325i. This is going to be more of a show car, and I am going through the entire car and I will be refreshing a lot of things on this car because it is completely stock. I want it to be a reliable daily driver, and I want to restore this car back to the way it was when it was brand new, when it came out in 1989. I want to walk through all of the things that are old and cracked and wrong with this vehicle that I discovered that I will be replacing. First thing that jumped out to me the worst was the paint job on this car. It has major clear coat failure and it is a light bluish tint, and it was fading in a lot of areas. It definitely showed its age. It's been sitting outside for over 30 years in the Las Vegas heat. I ended up painting the entire car. So I ended up spending the last month on this car completely correcting the paint job and giving it a full color change. Next up, the lower control arm bushings were completely shot, definitely old and cracked, so we pushed in new bushings. And the brake calipers were super dirty, and of course I want a little bit of pop of color, so I took those off, cleaned them up with a lot of the gum out brake cleaner, and scrubbed them with a metal brush, and ended up refinishing them in yellow paint. The axle boots were completely torn, which I will be replacing, and the exhaust hangers were completely torn, so it caused the exhaust to bounce up and down when you were driving the vehicle. So first things first, I got the car up on my new Spalm lift. I started up my Kranzla pressure washer and I pressure washed the entire underside of the vehicle. I am leaving this car basically all OEM and just fixing what needs to be fixed. So I'm gonna take you guys back this way. This right here is where the fuel feeds all the way to the gas tank, and so this hose was crusty and leaking. It was really bad. You could smell fuel from outside of the car, so I put on a brand new OEM style fuel hose right there, and now there's no more problems. This bar right here, I ended up putting a new sway bar on this car. I went with the ST suspension sway bar. It's an upgraded sway bar for this car. So it comes with brand new upgraded end links as well. Here comes out the old sway bar. It's a stock sway bar in this car. All the little bushings are completely torn. So bad on the end links of the car. Look how bad these are. And now we'll get the new one in the car, which is nice and upgraded and is thicker. It'll definitely help stiffen up the front sway of the chassis. Hopefully we can feed this in quite easy.
The pressure evaporated.
Got it. I also noticed the brake lines on this E30 were cracked, and of course I don't want to lose brakes while driving this vehicle, so I replaced them with the Garagistic stainless steel lines. This is great because they don't expand underneath heat or extreme pressure in Arizona, so it has a more direct feel on the brake pedal, which is really nice. It feeds directly to the calipers, and since I was redoing the lines, I had to flush the system. And so I ended up painting the calipers yellow and just took those all apart and did them the right way. Yes, I did paint the E30 myself. I chose to use a 1K primer sealer in white because I wanted to brighten up the final color of the car. So you can choose a lot of different primer colors, but I wanted it to be as bright as possible. First off, you have to sand down the entire chassis of the car and fully disassemble the car, which means you basically remove glass, remove all the doors, all the seals, any access panels, all bumpers, headlights. It's a bare bones car to say the least. Once I sanded down the entire car to 320 grit to create a rough surface for the primer to stick down to and remove any clear coat failure on the car, I sprayed it with the high-tech 1K primer and sealer. And then after that's done, these are awesome. These were Durablocks that we use across the whole car. These are block sanders. This is nice because if you sand by hand, most of the time you almost leave little valleys across the whole paint. So this helps you avoid any problems like that. And then I moved up and sanded all of the 3 coats of primer in 400 grit before spraying color. This is my workhorse spray gun. This is primer, color, and clear with this spray gun, and it came with all the nozzles in the kit. So the link will be down below if you guys are interested in this. Once you've primed the car before you start sanding, I highly recommend to get guide coat, which this is great. You spray a super light coat around the entire car, and this basically creates a guide for you to understand exactly where to sand down the primer, because it'll point out any valleys in the paint to create a full smooth surface. Now the color we chose, we did the Porsche olive green. Porsche paint can be pricey, but it is worth it to match the nice Porsches driving down the street in a 30-year-old BMW. So this is quite a fun color, and relatively, it's affordable, especially if you do it on your own. We used 2 gallons of pre-mixed primer and 1 gallon of color. Yeah, so we ended up using the Matrix Euro Clear, which the paint shop told us it's like the highest quality clear you can get, and it's really difficult to spray. But for my first car spraying, it turned out really good, and I didn't get any of those cat eye or bubbles that they were mentioning that could happen. So pretty happy with the results. We haven't even started sanding the surface yet, so I think it looks really good, and it feels super, super nice. And then once the clear is done, you start the reassembly, and you basically rebuild an entire car in a day, which is what we did, and it's exhausting. But once you finish the painting process, it's like you're so excited to get the whole car together. It's so fun. I love these door pieces in black. Looks so good.
Good idea.
Yeah, I resprayed these with the black SEM color coat like I did in the interior in the blue E30, and it turned out really clean. This door card reminds me of a sneaker. Yeah. But look at these seamless door jambs, put all the trim back. On the inside of the door too, it's all perfectly green. It looks OEM, super soft. Now I'm going to be cleaning my mass airflow sensor because there has been a few issues with the car. It's idling a little rough. If your mass airflow sensor is dirty, you can have a little bit of horsepower loss, and I need all the horsepower as possible. It could also cause poor accelerating if your mass airflow is dirty and it's filled with dust, which there's a high possibility of that because this car has been on the road for over 35 years. I have to remove this mass airflow unit, and this is your mass airflow sensor for my specific example, the M20 and the BMW E30. I'm just going to undo a few of these ringworm gears and take off the mass airflow sensor off of the boot, which this is a new boot that I replaced because there were a few cracks in it, so this could lead to a few problems of the mass airflow sensor being dirty. It's a lot of finessing. It was easier in this scenario to pull out the entire airbox, and now I'm gonna try to disassemble to get this mass airflow out. See, there's like oil in there. You know, it's super dirty in there. So I can't imagine, I'm excited to see what the mass airflow sensor looks like. That kind of sounds like a frog. I'm using the Gum Out Mass Airflow Sensor Cleaner because this is proven not to damage any of the electronics in it. And I watched several videos on how to properly use this, and you have to liberally spray it. Like, you spray a lot in here, and it eventually will evaporate and dry. So you have to make sure it fully dries before putting it back in the vehicle. But I'm just gonna spray the whole sensor and everything, and hopefully it starts cleaning it out. So we'll see how well this works as I spray. Let's see if it gets rid of all that. Whoa, oh my gosh. Oh my God, that works so good. And this side should all clean up well too. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, there's chunks of dirt coming off of that sensor. Oh, did you see how good that? Watch that. That's wild. I can't believe how dirty that was. Now I just gotta let this dry and then put it all back together and back in the vehicle, and we'll see if it made a difference in the idle. I hope it did. If not, we'll have to find the next problem. I put everything back together on the engine. I'm not gonna start it just yet, just in case it's still a little wet. I'm gonna let it dry. So in the meantime, I am going to add this Gumout all-in-one fuel system cleaner, which I put in all of my vehicles, even including my Camaro. I'm going to be putting this right through the gas caps. Anybody could do this. Seriously, it's that simple. You simply just pour it in. This is a great product to use, especially in an older vehicle like this. You can use it in a new vehicle to protect any future carb buildup, or an old vehicle to hopefully clean out the fuel system, because I have no idea what's going on in this car because I've never touched the fuel system. So this is like free insurance. All right, I'm gonna just pour her on in there. Yay. Just throw in a whole bottle of the Gumout in every single one of my vehicle. I don't really do half, I just do the whole thing. And then all you gotta do is tighten the cap back on there and she is good to go. And then as we drive the E30, it'll just clean its own fuel system, which is amazing. Sweet, so I'm just gonna quickly change the oil on this and put a Napa Gold filter on it to get her all freshened up. Hopefully. I might need a longer that's really on there. I don't understand why it gets like loose and then tight, loose then tight. Gotten better and better at that. Let's see how much oil is in here or if it leaked all over the driveway. Oh, there goes the washer I need. When I take out the drain plug, you can see how it gets super dirty. So I just kind of get a paper towel and some brake cleaner and just spray a bit on there and clean her up. And then wipe her clean before putting it in. Naturally, these have like a magnet on it, so it grabs any metal chunks. This one naturally is pretty clean. Previous owner definitely did oil changes on this, which is a good sign. 10W40 extended life motor oil. Getting dirty. Nice. And a half.
Happy car.
Yeah. Yeah, so it only takes 4.5 quarts of oil, which is nice compared to all of the V8s at the house that take 8 to 10.
4 gallons.
I hope this car loves us after all of this. Never know when the previous owner changed the oil, you know. It doesn't even click. I thought it would. Sweet. And that completes this E30 restoration. It was much easier than the LS swap for the other E30. Thank goodness. So now I guess let's pull this thing out and I'll give you guys a quick little walk around of the final product. This paint job looks amazing, especially during golden hour, and I just want to say thank you so much to Gumout for sponsoring this video. I will have all the links down below of all the parts I installed on this car, along with all of the materials to paint it and the Gumout products used to make this car like it just came off of the factory floor. And I hope you all have an amazing day or night, whatever time it is, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.